Jeza 1789. Wow, this guy is racist. I think he really believes the whole Jews are superior and everyone else is a sheep thing. So what if he married an Arab woman? He was attracted to her and married her. Big deal, unquote. Well, first of all, a Jew who marries outside the Jewish faith is betraying the Torah and betraying the laws of God and betraying the continuity of his people. The Jews cannot exist as a people if they marry outside the Jewish faith. There is no future for the Jewish people if they do that. And it's simply not allowed. It is forbidden, absolutely forbidden in Judaism. Secondly, if this guy goes so far as to marry, I don't know what this comment is in reference to, but if this is someone who goes so far as to marry an Arab woman, that's marrying the enemy, the worst enemies of the Jewish people. So that's doubly atrocious. That's doubling your trouble. That's double your trouble. And not only that, it also shows that the person has incredibly bad taste. And that should also be a sin. To have such bad taste should also be a sin. And now we go to Morad Protest, who writes, and I quote, Obama had his chance and will not free Palestine during his term as president. He was elected to initiate change in the Middle East and create lasting peace, but in the end, the Jewish lobbyists continue to exercise their power and influence to protect Israel, allow the expansion of Israel, and unless Arab nations join together to crusade this injustice, Palestine will never be free, unquote. Well, Palestine will never be free no matter what, because there is no Palestine. There is no Palestine. There are no Palestinians. This is a lie, a historical lie. There has never been a Palestine or a people or state in history. Never. It's just all a complete fabrication that has no historical basis. Israel is expanding. I wish that were true. Israel seems to be, last time I checked, Israel has been shrinking. Israel's giving up land, which is insane, but if we ever take power, Israel will expand, and it won't be because of Jewish lobbyists. And finally, as far as the fact that the only way that something good will happen against Israel, that you'll be able to destroy Israel, according to this sick writer, is if Arab nations join together to crusade this injustice. You know, if I recall correctly, the last time Arab nations joined together to make war against Israel and attack Israel was in 1967. The whole Arab world. Now, 1973, there was also a war against Israel. That's true. But 1967 was the time when really the entire Arab world went on Israel's borders and decided to wipe Israel out and directly confront Israel. That was a bad move. What a mistake that was. That was a real mistake. The whole Arab world got together against this tiny little Jewish country. And this tiny little Jewish country beat the living daylights out of you in just 6 days. Quadrupled in size in just 6 days. You outnumbered us 100 to 1. And we beat you in 6 days. Why? Because, not because of a Jewish lobbyist, but because 10 of ye shall chase 1,000 of them, and 100 of ye shall put 10,000 of them to flight. Remember, in the battle between David and Goliath, as small as David was and as big as Goliath was, in the end, remember who won that battle. Because when God is on the side of a nation, that nation wins. And now we go to Tourfangle, who writes, and I quote, Americans have succumbed to the temptation of evil since World War I. They have become materialistic, proud, and worship systems of inequity. They worship the Antichrist. The Jews are the Antichrist. They hate Hitler, who was the return of Christ on earth, the third prophecy of Fatima, so they are damned and in hell. No one can save America. What they have done to the good people of the Middle East will happen to the USA by natural forces and events, a.k.a. karma. Americans choose evil over good, so Satan has won, unquote. Tell me, Tourfangle, when did you escape from the mental asylum? Hitler now is the return of Christ on earth, by the way. Interesting. That's the term. Adolf Hitler is the return of Christ on earth. He's the manifestation of Christianity in the world and return of Christ on earth. Very interesting interpretation of events. I'll leave it to people's imagination what's going to happen on the day of judgment to this creature that is writing this, praising Hitler and worshiping Hitler, and then speaking against God's people, the Jews. I wonder how God is going to react to this creature. I have a feeling, Tourfangle, you won't need many clothes where you're going. You really won't. You don't have to stock up on clothing because you're going to a very warm place. And unfortunately for you, there's no air conditioning there. Thank you so much. Now we go to, one second. Now we go to Ron in Aquila, who writes, and I quote, "Modern Jews are fat from the blood money their ancestors made in the 19th century of forced opium trade upon China. When we had the pride and honor to refuse, Jews sent in British guns and ships and blew our culture and people full of holes. To this day, the British have bore the blame and hate that should be reserved for the Jews. Jews whine about an insignificant 6 million dead. Your poison killed hundreds of millions more Chinese and our culture. You murderers deserve the Holocaust," unquote. I guess, there's no discrimination. I guess all evil can come in all races. Nazi evil scum like this can come in all races. The Jews, I've seen the Jews blamed for quite a few things. This is a new one on me. Every day that passes, I find something new the Jews are blamed for. Now the Jews are blamed for killing hundreds of millions of Chinese. Did you know the Jews killed hundreds of millions of Chinese? They poisoned hundreds of millions of Chinese and killed hundreds of millions of Chinese. The Jews are responsible for all the problems in China now. Wow. I didn't know that. Well, you learn something every day. I guess tomorrow I'm going to discover something else the Jews did. But, I've discovered a lot of things. The Jews, you remember the Muslims said that the Jews were responsible for the tsunami. The Muslims said that the Jewish scientists created the tsunamis. And so, the Jews, I guess, are responsible for quite a few things. I could tell you one thing the Jews are going to be responsible for. When you go before the creator of the universe, the judge of history, you're going to find that he's a Jew. And he's going to put you in a very, very bad place, in my opinion.